What's going on, my PT peeps and my Walking Dead family? One Eye Bri back to talk about The Walking Dead and do a discussion, theory, breakdown. The Al theory? What does it mean for Rick? Spoiler warning, obviously, if you're not up to date of the show as of episode 808 and all of season 8, because we're going to talk about that as the theory applies to something that just happened in episode 808, and I don't want to ruin it for you if you don't know what we're talking about, but we're going to talk about the owls, what do they mean, and something you may have missed in the first episode of the season, how it applies to a lot of things. But first, guys, if you can, help us achieve our goal of 100,000 subscribers. Stay in the know by subscribing. We post Walking Dead and various video content every day, and I don't want you to miss out on anything, so stay in the know by subscribing. So let's talk about the Al theory. So we're going to break down the whole sequence with Judith, future Judith, Rick, Michonne, and what it possibly means for things here that you might not have noticed in the first time watching it, because it happens super fast. And it's just kind of a weird sequence with it too, especially how they shot it with the glowingness and the white glow of things, almost like somebody is dead or the future, or if it's a flash forward kind of thing. Is somebody dead or not? I don't know. We'll possibly talk about that. And the owl is very important here because of the meaning and the symbolism behind it. A lot of people think that owls represent death. And we'll talk about if that's right or not. Maybe it's partially right. But the owl is right there. Judith talks about the owl. Michonne's wording how it is, and is it kind of the series end? Was it mean that way? Or is it the season end of season 8? But I don't think so. I think it's more close to the series end more than the season end of season 8. So we'll talk about the meaning of owls and symbolism right here. So a lot of people think and associate death with an owl, but it's misunderstood. Because what a lot of the meaning and the symbolism of an owl is a couple things. So it could represent the guardianship of the underworlds, a protection of the dead, keeper of spirits who had passed from one plane to another. An owl appears to us when transition is near. So the transition could be death or physical form to, spiritual form. It could be a lot of things, but transition is a big one. But basically, in a nutshell, an owl represents wisdom, mystery, transition, messages, intelligence, mysticism, protection, and secrets. They are nocturnal animals. So nocturnal animals symbolize dreams, shadows, otherworldliness, secret knowledge, psychic awareness. So that's kind of cool that all those different meanings and symbolisms, what an owl represents. The association of the owl with death is often misunderstood. So it could mean death. It could be the protection of the dead, or that transition is near. So the whole thing came about when we had future Rick, old man Rick, new beginning Rick. And from what I'm seeing in the filming is that we're not going to see Rick look like this anymore this season of season 8. So is it season 9? Is it the series finale when it gets totally done in maybe seasons 11 or 12 or whenever it actually gets done? I'm going with more towards that hypothesis and theorization. But it's just funny to see how Michonne does not age at all. Just Rick and Judith. Obviously, people think it's Gracie or this, but I'm going with Judith. And then the whole Carl thing goes by. We'll talk about that in a second. But just like the way it's shot, and it's glowing, and it's white, and it's this, white energy, spirit, soul. It's just kind of another world. And it's just, is it heaven? We don't know yet, and they better answer it. Then the Carl thing goes by, and people are like, well, he was in the flash forward. How is this happening? How is this going to happen? Well, again, it just could be the heaven sequence, or Rick is dead, or the transition of something, but Carl is not going to be around. So what does that mean? It's clearly not a realistic future of Carl and Rick and Michonne and Judith. It's something else. So again, this is a theory. I don't know the answer just yet, so I want to know your thoughts on it, guys. The theorization, the discussion, the hypothesis. But Carl is not going to make it, so that does not make sense for that to be a future. It could just be the very end of the series end of a flash forward kind of sequence. I don't know. It's just kind of out there. We just don't know yet. But let's break it down even further. So Rick comes around the corner, and there's some weird music playing. We'll talk about that in a second. But Judith comes around, and she says, they made a big owl for the party. Michonne replies, people are taking this festival extremely seriously. So what's the festival? Why did they make a big owl? We just don't know. Remember, an owl can represent so many different things. So is it transition? Is it death? Is it mysticism? Is it something going forward? Is it so many things? We just don't know, but it's just, again, a theory right now. Then Rick says, a big owl? Judith replies, it's outside. Michonne says something very interesting. They're going to get you. Rick says, never. And then Rick replies, we should go see it, or something like that. It's kind of muffled, but we should go see. And then they go out towards it. But the way it goes down is Michonne says, they're going to get you. And Rick responds, never. So is Michonne talking to Judith or Rick, or who's going to get who? That's just kind of interesting. Then Rick says, I'm not afraid of the big owl. How big is it? And then they walk outside. Just that wording of what Michonne says and the whole sequence, you should watch it real time and then tell me what you think. But breaking it down, Michonne's words and how she hasn't aged at all. She looks, exactly how she is. And Rick is old. So has Rick passed away and Michonne hasn't? And I just don't know what to make of it. Then they go outside and the world is glowing again with this white light and the brightness of it. And then the owl is clearly evident there. So it's just pretty obvious to me that there's a higher meaning to that whole sequence. I just don't know exactly what it is yet. So the theory is, to me, is that Rick, some transition has happened. Is Rick dead? I think it might be the very end of the series. Then it goes to this after the whole sequence where Rick says, my mercy prevails over my wrath. And he's upset, but is it relief upset? Is he crying for some reason like the war is over? He spared Negan's life or what? And then he addresses the group again with Maggie and Michonne and as they're going to attack the sanctuary, and it goes back to that. So the whole sequence of things is kind of interesting. It's a good way of storytelling, is what Gimple said with the Old Man Rick thing. So is the Old Man Rick the very end of the series? I think so. Another one, Rides the Bus, is the song that's playing by Weird Al Yankovic. Not Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. And that's what Weird Al does. I love it. He does the changing of the song lyrics and stuff to be a funny, homage to the song. And it's pretty cool, but it's just interesting that that's what's picked. Not Another One Bites the Dust would mean that someone gets taken out or died or killed, but Another One Rides the Bus. There's got to be a meaning behind that, and just not sure exactly yet. So there's the owl, and again with the owl thing, people are telling me that owls represent death. They told me that at the very beginning of the episode, and I always kind of heard something like that, but it's misunderstood. If it means that Rick has died and passed on and transitioned on, or has his mind transitioned to something different world like that. Only time will tell. It's just my theory, my hypothesis of it, but it just kind of connects the dots a little bit with the whole episode 801 with Carl, and now that Carl's going to die. But also, is it the series end and how the Walking Dead TV show ends? Possibly. Post your comments below, guys. I'm interested to know your thoughts. Give me a follow on Instagram and Twitter. We post stuff there all the time, funny videos, pictures, and content. Walking Dead community Facebook page and a group. We got a PT channel page. It's a great community. Everyone's welcome to join. Walking Dead mystery boxes. We're doing more and more mystery boxes. We got a bunch of new products coming in all the time. So $38 free shipping through PayPal. Message me on here or the Facebook page to order your stuff. $38 free shipping. Some stuff like that. You never know what you're going to get. Let me know if you want to get one. Fight for Us book series. Good stuff going forward. 4 books available now. Book 5 is in the works. 4 friends. I'm the guy with the katana. It's just a good story of the zombie apocalypse. If you like The Walking Dead, Zombieland, Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, all the different genre of it, those are the 4 books. They get better in each book. My favorite books is book 3 and 4, Refuge and Conquered. Pick your copies up today. Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Kindle versions, paperback and digital. Thanks, guys, and let me know what you think.